So last night there was a bird in this elevator. I don't know if it ever got out. Looks like it kind of made its way out, but I don't know. It was really weird. It was chirping. I guess it had gotten into my floor, and somebody went in the elevator. It just flew up in there. But what's up, everybody? Yeah, I do have the right shoes on. That's good. I gotta get gas, and today's an early day because for some reason my bullshit company has authorized overtime, which means it's mandatory. But we don't like using the M word. You fucking make us come in all the time. So how is it not mandatory? Reserve. Need to go get gas really bad too. 1, 2, 3. So last you guys saw, I was going to see the Civil War. And this video may contain some spoilers. I will try and let you guys know when those spoilers are coming up as best I can. So the story is drastically different for the most part. I say a lot. I'm probably going to say a lot today, especially today. My overall reaction to it was good. The way I said that was weird. Good. It had a little bit of... It suffered from a little bit of not having that oomph. Like Ant-Man. Ant-Man was great. Ant-Man also didn't have everything it should have. Ant-Man. But it lacked some little thing that was basically like that little bit of push. That little tiny thing. So I saw that with Civil War a little bit. I mean, it was great altogether, but for some reason it just felt like that for me. But at the same time, it wasn't really supposed to have that newness to it. It was your family being in a fight. So overall arc, the government decides to step in and says people need to register and fight for the government, otherwise you retire or you go to jail. So if you have abilities, you don't use them, period. You don't use them for personal gain, you don't use them to help other people, you don't use them for yourself. You know, you're either treated as a villain, a hero, or a non-combatant. They just put you into 3 categories. As this is happening, it's hard because Cap is he's right. Like, when Stark found out that his weapons were actually doing more damage than good, he stopped production and changed his business to do other things, which is fine. I don't know how the hell Stark decides to God, this guy's a new writer. This guy, Stark decides to do that and still make money somehow. But he in a conversation says, you know, when I found out that my weapons were hurting people or doing a lot more damage than good, then I stopped production. You know, I made a choice. And Cap is like, yeah, but that was your choice. If we sign this document, it basically means we have no more choice. And Don Cheadle, or Colonel Rhodes, War Machine, comes back and says, this isn't S.H.I.E.L.D., this isn't the American government, this is the United Nations, this is kind of what everybody's signed up for, kind of thing. Like, this is a single entity, and Cap's like, yeah, but people have agendas, and it's ran by people, and sometimes agendas change. And what happens if we need to go somewhere and we're not allowed to? Or somewhere that we shouldn't go and they make us go? if we sign this document, we surrender our right to choose. We don't get to choose anymore. So I can't do it. You know, this is not good. And of course, Tony's like, sign it. And if we do sign it right now, we could at least be the forerunners of it, and we can help it to change to be better. Otherwise, we're gonna have it done to us. And that's kind of like the shitty thing. And then the overall arc of that is, this is basically the catalyst for how everybody starts fighting, and then it turns into everybody's fighting for an axe, or like everybody's on this whole "I told you so" kick. Like this will happen, you know. People are bad kind of thing, and your friend Barnes, it just shows that he's bad because he did this bad thing, when it turns out Barnes didn't do it at all. And this is where Cap is like, I told you so. Black Panther was really good in it. I liked Chadwick Boseman as an actor. He played a very, very excellent T'Challa. I was afraid that he would kind of be like, not so great, or too over the top with it. And it turned out, no, he was spot the hell on. He did very well. I like the overall arc of his character. He really, really impressed me. Ugh, it's wet. And T'Challa was just, he was really cool. I don't think he had a ton of screen time. But yeah, T'Challa's backstory is about 10 seconds long. It's literally, hey, how are you, Dad? Son, you're too much of a warrior. You gotta be more of a diplomat. Pardon me. And of course, Black Panther's like, fuck no. Like, we don't take shit from anybody. And then, of course, dear old Dad gets whacked on accident because somebody's framing the good old Winter Soldier. Sorry, that was a spoiler. T'Challa is kind of on this whole revenge kick. So he's he's your classic, like, an eye for an eye makes the world blind, and learns that later. And there's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie. There's a lot of, I'm really pissed at you because you guys dropped a fucking building on my son, daughter, relative, whatever. Rabbit, that sucks. And it's no fun. It's no fun whatsoever. It's hard. It sucks. They keep going back to this thing that the Winter Soldier did back in 1991. You do get to see more of what he did. And he was a badass. I mean, like, Russia or Hydra thaws him out, and they give him this Manchurian Candidate kind of code. So they say a bunch of stuff, and he goes into reboot mode, which is just basically, or like mission mode, which is just basically, what do you need me to do kind of thing. Like, you say a certain amount of phrases or words in the right order, and he just basically is like, okay, prepare for mission. And as that happens, it's kind of, you know, like, it's like programming a robot. You know, you just hit start and he goes, okay, what do you need? And so you can do, like, you're gonna ask him, like, mission report, or, you know, anything you need, because he is a blank slate at that point. It's like asking a computer for something. Like, how did that go? Oh, very well. This was this percent. Mission accuracy was this. It was complete success. Cool. And they're like, okay, stand over here. All right, punch yourself in the face. Cool. So that whole story you get from what he did in 1991 is he basically needed to steal something and kill a couple people, no witnesses. So he does. And he just does it like flawlessly, like flat out. Riding up on a motorcycle, shoots a tire out, car goes out of control, runs into a tree, comes back, pops the trunk with his arm because he's ridiculously strong, and then steals whatever he needs. After that, kills the two people, walks away. There's a security video watching him as he checks it out, kind of thing, like surveys the area. He takes the tape and actually gives it to his superiors, so they have it on record what he did. And that's kind of the whole catalyst for the movie. Like, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. And like, I was kind of putting it together, and I was doing pretty well with it until that happened, and I figured it out like half a second before it actually happened. And that was rough, because you're like, ah, shit, that happened, and then everybody's like, we're gonna fight now. And the nice thing about it is there was no forced fighting. There's no like, I have a shitty reason, or because I don't like you kind of thing. It was flat out like, I feel this way, you feel that way, this isn't right because of these reasons. Well, that's not right because of these reasons. How do we get past this? Well, we don't. You know, because one way is, it's either one way or the highway kind of thing. And both either, it basically starts a revolution, is what I'm going to guess. Because they've been leading up to these events all over, like Daredevil, everybody's talking about the Vigilante, and Jessica Jones, she gets suckered into helping somebody, but it turns out to be they want to kill her because she's one of them. You know, you people hurt my relative in New York. She's like, I had nothing to do with that. Seriously? And they're like, you're the problem. Which sucks. But yeah, spoiler alert, Cap winds up giving up the shield. He gives up being Captain America, or the mantle. Because at some point, there's somebody that says, you don't deserve that shield. You don't deserve to wear that. So he just drops it. And it's rough. So overall, like, I liked it a lot. It was very hard to swallow at times because it's just hard. It's like you going to war with your siblings. It really is. Like, your family is just like, this sucks, and you're like, yeah, this sucks, and your family's like, what are we gonna do? And you're like, there's nothing we can do because you're on one side, I'm on the other. It's just how it is. Spider-Man had a very excellent part. He's only been doing the Spider-Man thing for 6 months, so Tony picks him up, he helps him out, because he's like, this is you, isn't it? And shows like YouTube footage of him. And Spider-Man's like, or Peter Parker's like, no, that could be anybody on YouTube. And Tony's looking around and he like finds the costume, and Spider-Man like tries to hide it, and he's just like, no, it's fine, that's just my gym outfit. And Tony's like, you need an overhaul. Like, how would you like an actual suit? So that's how he gets the suit with the eyes that actually do stuff, and the web cartridges that are the actual web shooter that works a lot better and all that kind of stuff. Because Peter originally developed it himself, so he makes like a baseline model one, and Tony's like, you need access to a lab, and it just happens to be I have a lab, so come fight with me, help me out, and let's do this. So Spider-Man's all like, yeah, sure, and then they have the airport scene, and then after that Tony's like, you're done, that's fine, we're done here, kind of thing, like, no more kind of deal. And Spider-Man's like, no, I can keep helping. And he's like, seriously? you got socked in the face pretty freaking hard a couple times. This isn't gonna be fun. So of course, Spidey, or Peter Parker, Spidey, is like, his mask is half off, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna lay here for a bit. So he winds up going home. He seems like he had like a 10-minute cameo, if that. Vision does really well, but he's very robotic. He's like their version of the Winter Soldier, except he's more rational. There is a bunch of nods to the comics, like he tries wearing normal clothes. He phases into Wanda's room, and she's like, Vision, use the door! He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought since your door was open. She's like, still, use the damn door! Thanks. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll leave that way too. And she's like, yeah, thank you. You know, it's weird when you walk through walls kind of deal, because you don't expect him to be there, and he just shows up. And Rhodes, of course, gets hurt pretty bad, and he's messed up from it. The Stan Lee cameo, awesome. It was really, really funny, and it's kind of like the last punch kind of deal. Last punch to the losing side. Sharon Carter has a longer role than you think, and she helps out a bit, actually quite a bit, in a huge way, but you don't see her for very long. I love the fact that Bucky and Cap have this, like, you can tell they're still friends and all that kind of stuff. I mean, when they first meet, they meet in Bucky's apartment, because he's been living in Germany, trying to be under the radar. So he gets flushed out, and Cap finds out where he is. And he's in his apartment, and he's just kind of like looking around, and the Winter Soldier is like, or Bucky's just there. Like he snuck in behind him. And when he snuck in behind him, Cap's like, I can't let you leave, kind of thing. And he's like, I'm leaving, kind of deal. Like, you know, everybody is on their way here right now to apprehend you. He's like, I didn't do that. It's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. I'm not that person. So Bucky's like, I'm leaving. So he kind of like tries to incapacitate Steve, doesn't, punches a hole in the floor, grabs the bug out bag and runs. And Cap's like, don't kill anybody. And he's like, I'm not. So they like fight all their way downstairs to jump to another building. And Cap's like trying to mitigate him killing people on accident, because he's like, I don't want to kill anybody. Yet he does things that are like, he throws a guy off down a stairwell, and Cap catches him, and he's just like, seriously, man, like, stop doing that. But that was good. And then they also have the reminiscing of stories, like, hey, remember that one time on Coney Island when I did this? He's like, yeah, you spent like $3 on hot dogs. We couldn't make it home. He's like, yeah, but you spent like $5 trying to win a stuffed bear for, what was her name? Dolores or something? He's like, oh yeah. Yeah, we never hung out after that. But overall, I would definitely give it a thumbs up. It was awesome. I don't know. Maybe I'll wind up talking more about it. But if not, I love you all.